Welcome back to the second section of the DMD review. This section will be all about conditional probability. And just to give you an idea for what's coming up, we'll have an introduction where we'll develop some intuition about what conditional probability is really capturing. Then we'll talk about the third law of probability in more depth, and we'll see some examples. And finally, we'll look at a tool called probability trees and see an example there. So conditional probability is the idea that if you know something about an event, it might change your beliefs about the probabilities of other events happening. As a motivating example, let's consider the event that your stock has a positive return. Now, you're probably quite interested in this event, and perhaps at the beginning of the day you estimate that this probability is 0.6, where A is the event that your stock has a positive return. But now let's say that there's a related event, that your competitor's stock has a negative return. And perhaps you know now that this event has happened. You'd expect that because they have a negative return, your stock might be doing quite well, doing better. And so we can write this probability of A given B, that's what the little bar in the middle of the probability means, as perhaps 0.75. So I'm more optimistic now that the event B has happened, which is that the competitor has a negative return. Just to review the nomenclature here, we say the probability of A given B, or the probability of A conditioned on B. And again, it's the idea that our ideas about the uncertainty in the future may change based on revealed information. As one more example of how this works, let's look at the probability that I roll a 5. This we should know is 1 out of 6 for a fair dice. But now let's say I have some extra information. What's the probability of rolling a 5 if you knew that you rolled an odd number? So again, here's an example of an event which is influencing your outlook on the question of interest, the probability I rolled a 5. And now it changes to 1 out of 3 rather than 1 out of 6. And so in general, the idea of conditional probability that we'll be studying in depth is that you want to use your information as effectively as possible to change your probabilities of future events happening.